Howdy doody. Thank you for tuning in once again to another episode of Life Talks. Feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. I won't mind that at all. What I'd like to talk about today is being more understanding and less insistent. So, for example, what I mean by that is if, we all have that group of friends where, let's say we're trying to better our lives, break certain habits. Maybe we're on a low-calorie diet. We're trying to, monitor that stuff. And you got those friends that are always tempting you into having that cigarette, that drink, or eat more than your limit, or stuff like that, trying to be insistent. And let's say you're one of those people that are doing that and you want to be nice, so you offer something, and you feel like they should accept it because you feel like, well, if they accept it, I'll be nice. I'll be doing something nice. Well, it's a good way to look at it. But the thing of it is, the offer alone, trust me when I tell you, the offer alone is going to be a good enough deed. You want to do something nice for somebody, just at least offer. If they say no, well, you at least offer it. You still did something nice. So there's no need to insist, and there's no need to tempt them into accepting your offer because you want to feel like you did something nice. Like I said, it's nice of you to have that on your mind, and it's nice of you to look out for somebody. But the reason why it can be a problem if you're too insistent and you're not taking no for an answer, the reason that can be a problem is because, let's say that the person you're tempting or being insistent to is trying to better their lives, trying to break a certain habit, whether it's that you're trying to quit drinking, they're trying to quit smoking, they're trying to cut back on their food intake, whatever that may be. But you're tempting them into give in to those habits because you feel like you're being nice, you feel like you're providing some hospitality, you're doing a good deed. Well, like I said before, the offer alone is good enough. But when you're too insistent and you're tempting them, then it puts more pressure on them, and then they're trying so hard to resist. They're trying so hard not to fall back to square one. So when you're tempting them and putting all that pressure on them, it's not helping them. What we should be doing is we give them the offer. They take it or leave it. And if they say no, which I hope they do if they're trying to better their lives, then you tell them, hey, good job, keep up the good work, I respect that. Trust me, that alone can make the difference in them continuing their journey and bettering their life and breaking those habits. I've been through this myself when I was dieting for a year. My biggest obstacle was not the craving, although that was my second biggest, but my biggest obstacle was the temptation, the peer pressure. Luckily, I was blessed enough to be stubborn enough to resist. And you know what? Stubbornness is a powerful ally. It is. So if someone calls me stubborn, it warms my heart. Thank you. You make my day. So, no, I mean, if you have a friend that is trying to better their lives, yeah, okay, be nice. Offer it to them once. They say no. Leave it at that. I don't say this, to try to come off as blunt or anything. It's because they, like I said, that friend of yours who's trying to better their life is already having a tough enough time resisting their craving. They're probably craving it 24/7 because they're used to maybe having that cigarette every day. They're used to maybe having that drink all the time. They're used to maybe, binge eating like I did. I used to binge eat all the time. And so they're constantly talking themselves out of it. They're constantly trying to fight it off and keep it at bay, keep that wolf out the door. So when you're tempting them too much and being overly insistent, then it's not helping them. And our job as friends is to help encourage each other and bring each other up. So just remember, the offer alone is nice enough. It's good enough. And they'll tell you thanks anyway. That's it. Hey, you know what? It's more for you guys anyway. That just means you don't have to share. But yeah, it's a certain principle I wanted to elaborate on, because it gets to be an underrated, or how do I say, an overlooked problem that we all go through. We all come across ones that we don't really take the time to realize is an issue, but it is. So, but let me switch to the other side of the coin. Now I'm talking to the one who is trying to break the habit of, whether it's quitting smoking, drinking, or cutting back on their food intake. I'm talking to you now, the one who's trying to resist the temptation and the craving. So you got that friend who is really waving that in your face, dangling in front of you like a worm on a hook. Well, I'm not saying they should be doing it too much, because I just said earlier, it's not appropriate to be over insistent. However, if you give in to the temptation, well, then you will have stopped yourself, and the only one that can stop you is you. The cravings, the temptations, those are obstacles, and unfortunately, obstacles are inevitable. They come with the territory when it comes to improving yourself. When it comes to trying to reach a goal, obstacles are inevitable. Because if you go down the road that's paved and smooth, well, a lot of people go down that road. It's easy. It's an easy way out. But not as much of an appealing a destination. Destination, excuse me. Now the road where you're trying to better yourself, that destination. Yeah, a lot rockier, a lot bumpier, a lot more dips, a lot more roadblocks. So basically that's like the temptation and the craving and all that. So just remember what you're trying to achieve. And I've even elaborated on this in one of my other videos about dieting, is just remember what you're trying to achieve, what you're shooting for. When you first started this self-improvement plan where you were going to break these habits, what were you trying to achieve? What are you trying to get at? Or, what's your end game? Because once you get there, oh, believe me when I tell you, it's satisfying. It was the toughest year of my life dieting, but it's probably the best decision I ever made, and I don't regret it one bit. And I will never go back to it. So if I go back to that, well, then all that hard work would be out the door. And that's another thing too, all that hard work, let's say you've come a long way from quitting smoking, drinking, or cutting back on your food intake. You've lost a lot of weight. You're maybe halfway home, let's say. You're halfway home. You've already put in the effort, the work. That's another thing that can motivate you. Don't let that go to waste. So don't let these cravings or temptations drive you back to square one. Don't let them steer you wrong. Trust me, it's worth hanging in there for. It's worth resisting the temptation and the craving for. It's worth, having your friends give you a hard time because, you're stubborn and you're not giving in. It's worth it. Let them give you a hard time for bettering your life or doing what's best for you. They shouldn't be doing that. The right friends will encourage you and congratulate you and say kudos and stuff like that. So just worry about what you're trying to do, the better person you're trying to become. Worry about that. That's what matters. Bettering yourself, being the best to you every day. I promise you, a lot of times popular opinion and being the best you is not going to go hand in hand. A lot of other people's opinions about you, what they think about you, is not going to go hand in hand with being the best you, being the best you can be. So just remember, do what's necessary, do what's best for you, do what's right. That's all you got to worry about. Just remember, for the ones trying to be too insistent and too tempting, Please kind of mellow out a little bit. Let that person succeed. Let them keep bettering their lives. Other side of the coin, person that's trying to better themselves, the one who's resisting the temptation and the peer pressure. Just remember what you're shooting for. Remember what you're working for. Don't worry about what they think about you, what your peers think about you. Just keep going. It's worth it. Sound good? Awesome. I'm on your schedule. Alrighty. Well, thank you for tuning in again, and keep up the good work. Don't give in. Stay on the right track. Have a good one.